Hey guys, how you going? Hope you're all doing very well. This evening I'm going to be doing another movie review for you all, so hopefully you find this one interesting. This movie is a horror film from Ireland, English language, released in the year 2023, directed by William Brent Bell, and this film is called Lord of Misrule. So Lord of Misrule takes place in the secluded countryside in Ireland. We have this town that are very strange. The townspeople, they have beliefs that aren't shared by the outside world, and so this is what gives them that sense of close-knit community. So the new minister to this town, it's a female that has a young daughter and a husband. She's giving her sermons, and she's starting to become integrated within this family, and she starts to feel as though she's been accepted. So this community celebrate an annual thing that I'm not going to give away, but each celebration is to appease something that they truly believe in. So on this particular occasion, the celebration starts, the minister, her daughter and husband, they all go along, but during this celebration the daughter goes missing. So they have no idea what's happened to her. She's just disappeared, vanished into thin air, and so this woman is asking questions, but she's not getting the answers that she wants. So she starts to doubt what's going on and whether or not there is more to the picture than she first thought. So the more she investigates, the more dangerous the situation becomes. So what happens at that point on? Something you're going to have to find out for yourself, because that's as far as I am going with my synopsis. Now my thoughts on Lord of Misrule. I had absolutely no idea what to expect with this film. No one ever talks about it, and I didn't know it existed until I came across it here in a DVD store in Canberra. So I looked at the cover. I thought it was actually quite an interesting cover. It looked like a very folklore sort of horror, a horror that is very reminiscent of The Wicker Man. So that's something that I really like. And so I read the back of the synopsis, and I thought, all right, well, this has captured me. Ralph Ineson is in the film, and that's I'm a massive fan of this actor. And William Brent Bell, although I'm not completely won over by William Brent Bell, the American director, he has made some films that I've actually appreciated, and so I thought, alright, well, combining all these elements together, maybe this is a film that's going to be worth it. And so I took a risk by actually purchasing this film based solely on my gut feeling, but I had hesitations that maybe no one talks about it for a very good reason. So after watching Lord of Misrule, I can thankfully say that I was surprised by how much I enjoyed this. Now, this is no masterpiece by any means. There are a few problems that I'll go into a little bit later, but what I loved about this film is atmospherically is absolutely fantastic. That really surprised me. All the hard things to do in horror are actually accomplished in this movie, which gives me the impression that this is just not a paycheck for William Brent Bell. This is a movie that he genuinely wanted to make, and you could feel the love come through the screen because it's a very gothic feeling, and the gothic feeling creates a lot of unnerving quality because the soundtrack combined with the visuals, I just thought as though it created that psychological monster, and this is something that you don't see every day. Horror is an avenue for very lazy filmmakers, but this movie demonstrates a lot of time and attention and patience. And so if you're willing to use patience as a viewer, you're going to appreciate what this movie produces, especially if you like your folk horror films and you also like the Wicker Man. I thought as though it does pay homage to the classics, and it does make something that is worthwhile. There are some unanswered questions that I thought, alright, well, it keeps my interest, and I could invest my time in the search for this young girl. You don't know what's happened to her, but you know something creepy is around the corner. So you're bracing for impact, but I thought I had a bit of fun, bracing for that impact, and so it never felt boring. I thought the runtime was very, very good. I thought the acting from Ralph Ineson was very creepy. I really like this guy. He demonstrated his acting abilities in just playing someone who is incredibly creepy, and the whole film has that really creepy feeling to it. The townspeople, it was very creepy. You didn't know whether or not they were friendly or misunderstood, or in fact something sinister was going on, and because of that it kept suspense. And again, that was something that I was really impressed with. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting just a gore fest that was going to be very lazy. And this movie does have violence, but it doesn't play off that violence. It plays off the anticipation that something really bad is happening. And it also has that mystery surrounding this young girl that keeps you interested. And so it makes you want to invest your time into finding out what was going to happen. So the acting was good. The script I thought was very good. There were some moments of set pieces that I thought were very, very memorable. And so for a film that no one talks about, you could do a lot worse. And so if you are a fan of this, I would highly recommend you go and check this one out. If I have issues with Lord of Misrule, I will say that it's a mashup of classic films of the past, and so that does bring a level of predictability to it. I thought, alright, I know how this movie is going to end, and I was actually right, so I'm not going to give anything away, but once you see the film, you feel as though there's a certain level of familiarity to it, and because of that you can kind of dictate what's going to happen. Although there is some mystery to the questions that aren't answered, there are some questions that are answered that you kind of anticipated, and so it's a mashup of films, and I just thought as though it didn't really take a major risk. I thought it always playing to the confines of safety, and so it's taking taking bits and pieces of films that clearly inspire it, but it's not daring to actually jump out and make a shadow of its own. So it does have a little bit of a generic flavour to it. If you're not familiar with this style of horror, maybe it'll be a little bit different, but if you've watched The Wicker Man and you've watched other films that are similar to it, you kind of know how this movie is going to transpire. But pushing that aside, it is very, very creepy, atmospherically incredibly impressive, but I just wished as though it had a little bit more daring quality to it to actually make it a little bit different. You know, you can pay homage to classic films, but just having your own little twist to it is always more impressive. But I just felt as though it stays confined to that level of safety a little bit too much to really make it a movie that's going to last the test of time as far as memory is concerned. So it's definitely one I would recommend. I wouldn't rush out to see it, but if you do get an opportunity, you're probably going to be impressed. I'm going to give this film 3 stars. Alright guys, that's it for my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later. Bye.